Hey guys, welcome back to another Minecraft video. We're gonna be doing probably for the next few episodes a lot of the same shit that we were doing last time, which is just getting experience levels and enchanting stuff. So I'll try thinking of interesting things to talk about to make these episodes at the very least somewhat, you know, different from one another, not just feeling like a big old blob. Oh, okay. Currently, I'm not entirely sure what to talk about. I'm gonna be honest. This video is probably gonna be a whole lot of me not saying much because I did not go into this video with a plan. It's fucking 6:20 a.m. on a Saturday. All right, it's about the most like nothing you will have my brain at any given point during a week is Saturday mornings. Just look at the color of the sky to determine if it's time to get out. So... Getting out soon. Maybe a bit of an immersion break, but I figured this is something to talk about, and it's really the only thing I can have on my mind as of now. There isn't really any interesting music that has come out so far this year, you know? I don't know if it's just me, but last year, and especially the year before, by this time of the year, I could have handily said that there was at least a few projects that I was interested in. There has been one, and fuck, it released like 4 days ago, so you know, a bit late on that one. What it was. It was do I have my phone with me? No, let me pull it up. Let's see. It was the new project by one of the members of Glass Beach. Yeah, Jay, or under this alias, You're an Angel. And then the album, it's Fine to Dream. There's a lot to this project that I think is remarkable. I feel like it mashes together electronic and I wouldn't necessarily say acoustic, but very real instruments and electronic instruments together very well. But it mashes them together like oil and water in a good way, mind you. But it's like there's electronics here and acoustic stuff. Well, real instruments here mashed together as opposed to like finding the happy middle ground between the two where it creates this interesting texture. No, it's like this part of the song is electronic, this part of the song is real instruments, and I feel like that's quite interesting. Yeah, I'd recommend it if you're into like more like indie tronica influenced emo music. It's pretty cool. I did not think I'd get over talking about that so quickly, but I suppose I suppose nighttime's approaching, so there's going to be a little more to talk about in terms of what's actually going on in the game here, so. Let's stand around and wait, I suppose. See how quick I was with changing what I'm holding? Ow. Alright. Ugh. I don't like it when you're close to the road, dude. I really don't. I like it even less when you're on the road. There's a lot of endermen here. They drop quite a bit of experience, so I might be able to kill them if I'm careful enough. Alright. No, fuck it, people. Oh, hi. I think he died when he teleported. I hate it when that happens. I don't fucking like that. on, shoot. How do you hit me? Okay, you. Fight me. Did he die as well? For fuck's sake. You shot your own spider, dude. Alright. Back up. Okay, well this seems to be going a little fast. Although I say that, but it does slow down once you get to higher levels, so. There isn't really a way out through there, so let's... I'm deliberately trying to get a lot of use out of this boa, so I have a good excuse to craft another one and enchant that, because this one has shit enchants. Ow! You fucker! Why'd you take 4 hits to die? You always take 3. Why'd you take 4? God fucking damn it. You fucking jumped the second I shot at you. Yeah. I really like using the bow. I wonder how easy it would be if I had an even better bow, you know? This bow sucks. This bow is shit. And yeah, there's nothing. Okay. Well, my helmet's broken, so I'm gonna go make another one. Well, let's go back into here so I can get as much out of my day as possible and get as much experience levels as I can possibly get. Alright, calm down. I gotta think of shit to talk about. This is gonna be boring to watch. Now let's talk about music some more. I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna do a quick discography review of the band Unwound. May have heard of them, may have not heard of them, and difference does it make to you? Probably very little, but their debut album, Fake Train, is pretty good. I thought album cover is a little weird because the fucking, but it says on the album, well, at least in the biggest, most readable form is "Space is the place," which, you know, that's a pretty good name for an album. But no, Fake Train, the tiny gray text that is barely legible on the album. That's what you called it. Okay, but the actual music itself is really good though. A lot of like noisier, more aggressive cuts, but there's a certain like mellowness to them that sort of makes it a lot easier to digest, while also adds a lot more character to their sound. It's really nice. And then, well, I say eventually, but not even a year later, in March of 1994, they released New Plastic Ideas. I think New Plastic Ideas is a better project than Fake Train. Although I do have to admit that there is less to talk about on their sophomore record. It's good. I just feel like there's not as many standout moments on it. It's mostly a continuation of the sound on their debut anyway. it maybe just a touch more aggressive and unapologetic than their debut. There's less like calm moments to be had on New Plastic Ideas. But anyways, moving on from that, we have in April of 1995 they released The Future of What, which it has a great fucking cover. I wish I could show you, but it has a great cover. And the music is pretty good too. Well, for the most part, anyways. It starts off strong, but I feel like as it goes on, the album gets a little weaker. Particularly towards the end, it kind of starts to really take a nosedive in quality. It's a lot of like, I mean, they're obviously not very serious tracks, but the bonus tracks are. They do feel like they drag on a lot, and I know it's a kind of a joke because it's almost deliberately wasting your time, but it is. It does still feel a little out of place on the project. But otherwise, it's pretty good. A lot of the same sounds they were experimenting with on their previous record, just, I'd say, even noisier and even more aggressive than they were. In small increments, but definitely a step further in that direction. And then later that same year, in August, they released Unwound, their self-titled release, which was actually the first one they recorded. They recorded it even before Fake Train, but they didn't release it until '95, which is very weird. I can safely say it's the only time I've seen this in someone's discography where their first project is released somewhere in the middle of their discography. I mean, it's not the first time I've seen, like, an album that came later but was recorded first. For example, the Let It Be by the Beatles, among other things. But this is definitely the strangest example of that. It's even more aggressive somehow, despite being recorded earlier. There's definitely a lot more melodicism on here, despite that. Like, I can see a lot of the more, like, emo influence on this project. Which, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just an observation that I'm making. There isn't much to talk about on the project. It's pretty consistent, but it's definitely, you could tell it's their first because it is a noticeable step down in presenting interesting ideas to the listener. But let's move on from that and talk about the record that released in April of 1996, Repetition. Repetition is great. In fact, it's one of their best. I think there's a lot of, like, they have a really good sense of what is a good idea, what works, what doesn't, and I feel like they do a really good job at trimming the fat on this record, because I don't think there is really a wasted moment on here. Immediately starting off with fucking Message Received, just like screaming into the microphone, and then immediately following that with the best song on the entire album, and maybe in their entire discography, fucking Corpse Pose. That song is so good. I like, immediately after hearing the album, I went to learn that song on guitar. So it's a good fucking song. But yeah, this project is just, like, really full of hyper aggressive moments that also still manage to provoke a lot of intrigue in the listener, which is really cool. I don't think there's many projects I can say that provoke so many different emotions at once. And that's, I think, all I have to say about it. So let's move on to Challenge for a Civilized Society, which released in January of 1998. It's definitely a strange in-between for what came before and what came after it, because it's definitely a lot less aggressive than some of their later efforts, but some of their earlier efforts, but it's also kind of strangely, like, calm given the sort of sound that they have. They haven't, like, fully transitioned into the sound that they have on their last record, so it's definitely strange sort of seeing okay, about nighttime. It's definitely strange seeing them in this state. It's not a bad record by any means. It's just a very weird point. It's just placed at a very weird point in their career. So it's hard to really say that there's much worth re-listening to. Because I feel like a lot of the ideas on this album are just odd in-betweens of their two sort of creative processes that they seem to have throughout their career. It's hard to talk about without getting extremely specific. So I'll just paint in broad strokes for now and say that this project is very weird if you are a fan of. Very weird to get into. Oh god fucking damn it, the road! Yeah, it's very weird and difficult to get into if you're a fan of either their earlier stuff or their later stuff, because it kind of sits at a point where it's in between sort of the two eras of their discography. One definitely more short-lived than the other, but well, we're gonna get to that in like 5 seconds. So we're finally gonna talk about their final project, Leaves Turn Inside You, which released in April of 2001. It's definitely their saddest project. I'll start off by saying that. A lot of the sort of feelings of regression are sort of gone. It's like the whatever like aggression that was had on their earlier projects. Like whoever, like imagining it, the lyrics as being portrayed by a character and not just being a part of like the actual band's dynamics and worldviews and etc. Viewing it as a character, it definitely feels like sort of the come down after being so unimaginably enraged about everything. Feels like sort of the melancholic, like self-loathing following it, which is it's definitely a very interesting turn to take. And there is nothing. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything. In fact, no, it is their best project. It is absolutely their best project, but it's certainly weird. Yeah, it's a weird change of their sound that I'd imagine wouldn't necessarily be fully accepted by some listeners, which, I mean, that makes sense. I feel like I hear a lot more people talking about it today than I probably would have imagined people would be talking about it back then, or at least that's what it seems like, anyways. Again, I wasn't alive when it came out, so I can't exactly say for sure, but it definitely feels like a lot of the a lot of the talk about this project has been through a more modern lens. Towards talking about specifics on this record, a lot of the guitar work is very mathy. I could see a lot of like third and fourth wave Midwest emo acts taking a lot of inspiration from this album, particularly the second track, Look a Ghost. That's, I feel like out of all of them, that one is probably the most off-kilter and rhythmically based, which is funny because it probably also has the most recognizable melody of any of the tracks on this album. But in general, it's just a very melancholic, sort of depressing listen. So I will say that if you don't feel like feeling sad, maybe it's not exactly your time to be listening to this, right? Your time, as if you're required to listen to it or something. No, it's a very specific kind of project that is also very different from everything they've done. And while it's definitely the best they've made, I can understand why it's not entirely accessible to everybody, and especially why it wasn't accessible to everybody back then. I think that's about the best I can put it. Very good. Just different, you know? These fuckers with an axes. Did I look at you by accident? Okay. Come on, man, dick. You ain't got nothing on me. Come on. Ah. All right. Got 4 arrows left. Okay, well, 5. God, I am really bad at stopping those guys from exploding. Why was my axe not swinging for a sec there? I don't quite have an excuse to enchant a new bow and arrow just yet. Maybe next time I will. Alright, let's make some brand new iron swords. Alright, let's enchant a brand new chest plate. That's pretty good. Alright. Well, I think that'll be all for this episode of my Minecraft Let's Play. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.